Thank you for joining me today in this practice. This is a gentle yoga practice for joint release, and we are going to do a little strength training today, but mostly it is for joint release and increasing range of motion. So as you settle in on your mat, begin to feel your body making the connection to the surface. Follow your breath. And with each exhale, just feel yourself softening and releasing. Sometimes when I do yoga, and I have been doing a lot of sitting, I start by keeping my knees bent so that my torso and shoulders can soften. And then I will gradually extend my legs. So whatever works for you to feel comfortable as you soften down into the surface beneath you. So we talk a lot about joint release, and I'd like to spend a few moments today just working down from the top of the head to the tip of the toes, and just bring our awareness to each of these joints. So take a deep breath in through your nose. Let it out of your mouth. And bring your awareness to your jaw. Feel the upper jaw and the lower jaw where they meet. Begin to soften the jaw, the tongue. Now bringing your awareness to your neck where it connects to your shoulders. Just begin to gently rotate your head from side to side, keeping it heavy, the back of the head, just like a bowling ball. Just roll that head from side to side, feeling the connection of the head to the shoulders. Notice how it feels. Bring your awareness to your shoulders. Notice how the shoulders are landing on the mat, the front of the shoulders where the collarbone connects to the top of the upper arm bones and the shoulder blade. Just feel them soften. Your awareness to your elbow joints. Feel how the backs of your elbows relax on the mat. The wrists. All the joints in your fingers, where they connect to the palm. Now bring your awareness down your spine. Spine is where a lot of the major motion takes place in the body. Forward bending, backward bending, side bending. Where the spine connects to the pelvis. Notice how heavy your pelvis feels on the mat. Your knees. those ankles. And how the toes connect to the soles of the feet. All the little joints in the toes. And then take another deep breath in through your nose. Let it fall out of your mouth. Take your arms and bring them overhead. If you can extend your fingers behind you. Point your toes and take a long stretch. Feeling the joints, releasing and stretching. Notice where there's some resistance. And then gather yourself back together. Bend the left knee, then the right knee. Hug your knees into your chest. Gently hold on to the shins or the backs of the thighs and rock gently from side to side. So if you're like me, you're starting out the day now with some cold joints and muscles that haven't been, most of us haven't done a 10-mile run, so our muscles are probably a little tight too. So we're going to drop the feet down onto the mat. And we're going to begin our joint release with our shoulders. So we're going to bring the fingertips to the shoulders. And first we're going to squeeze those elbows into the waist and broaden through the collarbones and tuck in the chin. Really feel that tension going down. Press the upper arms into the mat, then press the belly button into the mat. Feel that tightening of the whole torso here. Notice if one shoulder is higher than the other or more vigorous than the other. Press them in, and then relax, and lift those elbows up to the ceiling, and then lift those elbows overhead towards the back of the mat. Come back to center, and we'll begin taking the elbows in towards the each other and then out to the side. So let's exhale the elbows in, inhale them out. Just do that 2 more times. Exhale in, inhale out. Exhale in, inhale out. Leave the elbows out, and then we're going to inhale those elbows like snow angels up towards the top of the mat and then down towards the waist. 2 more times. Inhale up. Exhale, drop to the waist. Last one. Inhale up. Exhale, drop to the waist. We're going to bring our fingertips down to our pelvic bones there, the hip bones right in the front. We're going to cross the hands so that the right hand is on the left pelvic bone and the left hand is on the right pelvic bone. And then we're going to do 3 of those take the t-shirt off movements. So we're going to inhale the arms, lift them up like you're taking off a t-shirt. Cross the arms in the opposite direction. Take them down. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale up. Bring them down. Last one, we're going to inhale up. And take the arms down. Drop them gently to the side. And we're going to do a little spinal movement here. Bring the heels in as close as possible to the buttocks. And we're just going to do some tuck and tilt of that pelvis. Getting into that lumbar spine in the sacral area. So we're going to roll that sacrum up. We're not lifting up into a bridge. We're just tucking and tilting. And you may notice that you feel this in your quads and glutes. And then release and take the feet wide. Wide is this comfortable. You may feel a sensation in your TFLs when you take your feet wide. Bring your arms out to the side and we'll begin our knee sways. We're just going to take those knees from side to side, listening to the body. You feel this in the outer quad. You feel it down to your knees. Feel it in the side glutes, the glute medius, and maybe up to the rib cage, depending on how your body feels in terms of wanting to sway. Some days I like to sway more than others. Today it's pretty good. And then when we're going to drop those knees over to the left, keep both shoulders on the mat and just stay here for a moment and let that right outer quad just start to release a little bit. Feel the whole leg soften if it works. If you have any discomfort, you can always place a block under the knee so it doesn't hang out in space, or a pillow. A couple more deep inhales and exhales. If it works in your body, take your left ankle and place it on top of your right knee to draw that right outer hip a little bit over to the side. If it's too much, don't do it. Release that left foot. Let's come back up to the legs up to the center, and we'll begin knee sways again before we take that practice to the other side. So we're just going to sway the knees a few times. And then we're going to drop those knees over to the right. Shoulders on the mat. Feel the sensations. Feel the hip joints particularly. So this pose gets into the shoulder joints and the hip joints and the mid back. I guess the knee joints too. You can also get the neck and jaw involved if you want to take your chin over to the left. You'll get a good stretch in the right side of the jaw and the neck. Always remember to keep your jaw soft. Nice breath here. And then if you want, you can take that right ankle and bring it up on top of that left knee. Now, I don't know about you, but one side was much easier to do than the other on this movement. If you're doing, you don't have to do this movement. This is a strong stretch. And then we'll take the right ankle off the left knee if it was on there and come back to center. And we're going to lengthen out our legs just to feel the effect of that stretch on your body. You can bring your arms down by your sides. Just feel into your hips. And we're going to come into a yin pose. So we're going to start by walking your upper body, shimmying it over to the right. So you get a stretch from the waist up to the side of the left side of the rib cage. And then you can walk your heels over to the right, and you'll get a stretch down from your hips to your ankles. So this is a Banana Asana. It's a yin pose. And if you want some more sensation and it works for your shoulders, you can bring your arms up and you can grab onto your left wrist with your right hand. You'll get a nice stretch on the left side of the body. Soften here. We're going to stay here for about a minute. So use that time to feel into your fascia, your connective tissues, and just invite everything to soften. Especially that long piece of tendon, that tensor fascia lata, that long tendon from the hip down the outside of the leg on the left there. The more you can stretch that, keeping that left hip on the mat, you'll get a great stretch in that side. Helps a lot with balance. The shoulders relaxed. If it's too much and you start feeling uncomfortable, you can release a little bit from the stretch. I'm going to stay here for 3 more breaths. All right, so what we're going to do is just keep your legs where they are. We're going to bring the left arm down. Then you're going to roll over to your right and come into a fetal position, resting your head on your right arm. And just stay here for a moment. We've been stretching out the left side. So we're going to come up now. Use your left hand to make your way up to a side pose on your right side. So we're stretching the right side now. We've stretched the left side. But we're going to do some strength training here for the hips. So if this is too strong for your right side, you can stay down on your arm or pillow. We're going to start with clamshell. So you're going to bend the knees. So you're making a right angle with your legs. You're going to come right up onto that right forearm, and we're going to keep that tummy tucked, and we're going to open and close the left knee. I'm going to do that 10 times. I've done 2, 3. Keep the alignment. It's more important to keep the alignment than to open the knees too much. This is a very good pose to keep the hip joints strong. Nice deep breaths. I don't know how many I did at last count because I was talking, so I'm going to do 2 more. And then we're going to lengthen out that right leg, lengthen out that left leg, stay up on that forearm if you are there, if you're not lying down. And we're just going to do some 5 leg lifts, nice with intention, nice and slow. The slower you work, the more you're actually using the muscles. If you use momentum, then you're not really using the muscle. Nice deep breath up and release it on the way down. We'll do 2 more. Tuck that tummy. Last one, hold it up and take that left arm and bring it up. And then release. Roll over onto your belly. And for just a heartbeat or 2, we're going to come down on the forearms. Drop your forehead onto your forearms. Press the toes into the mat, push the heels back to lengthen out the legs. And then just soften for a minute. Feel what's going on in that left hip. So let's lengthen out our arms in front of us. And we're going to walk the arms back as much as is comfortable in your body to come into a Sphinx pose. So ideally, if your body wants you to, you can bring your elbows under your shoulders and then open up those collarbones. Fingertips are pointed straight ahead. Relax the wrists. Getting a nice inversion on the compression on the lower back here. Good counter move to everyday activities. But I want you to bring your awareness to your lower arms and your wrists. So I'm right-handed, so my right wrist gets a lot of movement during the day, and I can really feel it in this pose as I try to relax, just to soften all those joints in my right hand. Keep those collarbones broad, just relax the lower extremities. So we're going to add on to this pose if it works in your body. We're going to take that left knee and bring it out to the side in baby tadpole. So you can see my left knee is out to the side at a right angle. Whatever works for you to open up that left hip. So open it up as much as it works in your body. Try to keep the shoulders broad. Feel that right sits bone making a connection with the mat. And my left sits bone is not my sits bone, my hip point is lifted. So I'm trying to invite that left hip to soften and open up the inner groin on my left leg. Keeping my wrists and fingers relaxed. Feel the sacrum soften. Two more breaths here. Gently slide that left leg down, and if you want to get a little more compression in the spine, you can turn your fingertips pointing outward and come up into a seal pose, or you can come right down onto your forearms. So seal pose is a little bit more of a back bend. Strong pose. And then we're going to lower those elbows down, cross the forearms in front, rest your forehead on your forearms. Take some breaths and feel the sensations of having compressed some of the tissues in the back body and side body. And then when you're ready, you can very slowly make your way back onto your spine. Take your time. So we got to do the other side. But before we commence the movements on the right side, just going to lengthen out your legs, bring your arms down into relaxation pose, and notice if the left side of your body feels different, longer, softer, something than the right side. Mine sure does. One of the beauties of yoga is the noticing. We get so much greater awareness of what's going on in our physical body, which I think helps us emotionally too, because when we feel ourselves tense, we begin to make the connection, oh, something's going on, and then we can make a decision rather than just reacting. We can respond more to events. So I think that's one of the great benefits of yoga. All right, so we're going to do that banana pose now. We're going to stress the right side of the body. So walk your upper body over to the left as much as it wants to, feeling that stretch in the right side. And again, both sides respond differently. They're going to walk the feet over to the left. So we get that Chiquita banana shape. Try to keep both hips on the mat. Come to your comfortable edge, and if it works for your body, you can bring your arms up overhead too and grab your right wrist with your left hand. If it doesn't work, just bring your arms as high as is comfortable. So we're going to stay here again for about a minute. This is one of my favorite yoga poses. I just love stretching the side body. I feel like it doesn't get the love that it deserves. Soften those shoulders, relax the pelvis. Feel that TFL on the right side, your tensor fascia latae. Makes me want a latte. I say that. Feel it stretching. Sometimes you even get a feeling, you can almost feel it soften. It's almost like just releases. I'm going to take 2 more deep breaths here. And then we're going to roll over onto the left side into that fetal position. Resting here for a minute. And then we're going to come into a side stretch. So we're going to lengthen out the body, left leg on the bottom. You can stay down on your upper arm, or you can come up onto your forearm. Keeping that shoulder in line with the ear and the hip. Feel that stretch on the side of the body. And we're going to bring those knees out into a right angle. And we're going to do 5 clamshells. So tightening up on the belly like you have on a pair of one size too small jeans. And lift the leg up and down 5 times with control. Nice, slow movements. And then we'll lengthen out the legs and do 10 leg lifts if it works for you. Don't have to go too high. We're just trying to be in control here. So we're doing the work. We're not pushing the leg up and we're not thrusting it up. We just, with intention, keeping the body nice and aligned here, not tipping backwards on your butt or forward on your belly. See, I lost count again, so I was talking. I think we're on 6 now. Breathing. Hold that last one up. Bring your arm up. Getting ready to grab that toe. And then bring that foot down. So we'll roll over onto our belly again. Lengthen out those feet. Cross the forearms in front. Take a few breaths here. And then we'll come up into Sphinx again on bring your arms out, bring them in as much as they want to go till you feel a good, comfortable, sustainable compression in the low back. And then slide that right leg out to the side. Again, noticing that the left hip point is heavy on the mat, and then the right one's probably slightly raised, and just trying to imagine it softening down to the mat. Nice full breaths, noticing the relaxation in the wrists and fingers. So we'll slide that leg down, and we're going to either come down on your forearms right away, or you can come up into a seal pose for a bit, just to get a little more compression in the spine. And then make your way down, cross your forearms, wiggle those hips, maybe lift up the legs and do some windshield wipers here. So let's make our way up to seated. Grab some water if you have it. Look at my notes. Okay. We are going to just first do a little footwork. So extend out your legs. You can do this in a chair too, this footwork part. You can do this whole sequence in a chair if you like. We're just gonna extend in heels and toes. Keep sitting up tall. Feel those sits bones underneath you. Make sure your ears and shoulders and hips are in alignment. Come back to neutral, and then let's just dance those feet from side to side. So as we bring the toes over, curl the toes down, bring them up, bring them back over, curl them down. It's like a little puppet show. Do, 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 do. So we're just kind of stretching out the metatarsals. I love that word. Science fiction word. Okay, now we're just going to rotate the ankles 5 times in each direction. Shake up your feet. And we're going to come with knees bent. I'm all in black. I probably should wear different colors so you can see. You're going to bring your hands behind you and lift up your chest. And we'll do some more leg sways. And the next time your knees are to the right, you're going to drop them down and come up and make a pinwheel shape with your legs. So you may notice this is my good side and I'm still leaning. See how this is my left leg and I'm leaning over to the right. So I have a block. I'm going to put it there. I'm going to try to sit up tall And sometimes if your hips and hammies are tight, you might want to put something underneath your knees. So stay here in this is deer pose in yin. We're taking our hips in the opposite direction. We were opening our hips before. Now we're rotating the left hip inward and the right hip is open. And for some people, it's easy to rotate the hips inward. For some people, it's extremely challenging. So my one yoga teacher, I love him. He's put as many props as you need to try to make it a comfortable pose for you. To sit up nice and tall in this deer pose. And then I want you to bring your left hand around behind towards your left buttocks and take your right hand and bring it on the outside of your left leg and try to twist here. So we're going to twist to the left. Open up those shoulders though. It's a strong pose. 3 breaths. Let's release that pose, but leave that left hand over beside the left hip. And we're going to take the right arm up. And then see if you can bend it over to the left. And release it down. Now we're going to take that left hand over to the outside of the right leg. And so both hands are under their respective shoulders. And here, see if you can, if this is a good enough stretch, stay right here. If you've got more play in you, I mean physical play, it could be mental, could be actual play. And then you can come down onto your forearms here. And we're going to stay here for 3 breaths. Slowly walk the hands back in. And we'll come up, bring that left leg back to the front. And just for a few breaths, we're just going to bring those legs out in front of us again. Bring your hands behind you and lift up your heart. The first time I did this sequence with my other teacher, I felt like I was being a dish rag rinsed out. It really does stretch all the joints in the lower body. So come back and we'll bend those knees again and we'll windshield wiper. And then drop the knees to the other side. And prop them up if you need to. If you, see, I can hardly sit up on this side. So I'm going to put my hand on a prop over here. See if I can work to sit up tall, have the spine be straight. Again, it's what's happening is that the rotation of that hip is not as rotatable, apparently. So we're just going to allow, if you're having as much trouble as I am, you're just going to invite your hip to soften and release as you invite your spine to lengthen. So funny how one side of the body is so different than the other. Okay, so we're going to take that right hand and bring it to the outside of the right buttocks. And on this side, I actually cannot, I don't think I can get my hand around here. Let's see. Prop myself up. Bring my left hand over. I'm going to actually put it between my legs here and just do it for a few breaths. And then we're going to lift that left arm up. See if you can fold a little bit. Whoa. Fold a little bit to the side. And release. Bring that left hand down. Swing the right hand around. Shoulder width apart. Feel the stretch. And if your body wants you to, you could come down onto your forearms here. Walk your hands back in. Bring the right leg forward. And come down on your back for a minute just to feel the sensations of working those hips. And notice how your legs feel. Do they feel equal? Do they feel long? Whatever they feel, just notice what the sensation is in your body. And this might be a fun time to give some gratitude to those joints. They work hard for us. And then bend one knee and then the other. We're going to come up to standing. So take your time, however you want to do it. I'm going to roll over or come into a table pose. Come into a downward dog. And then walk my feet in. Walk my hands in. And roll up to standing. Let's see if I can move the screen. So we're going to come into mountain pose. Feel your feet. Press into the center of the heels, the toe pads. Micro bend those knees. Lengthen the spine. Relax the shoulders. Point the fingers down towards the mat. Tuck in the chin. Mentally check your alignment. Ears, shoulders, hips, ankles. And just stay here for several breaths, feeling the power, strength of mountain pose. Just come up and down on our toe pads a few times, strengthening the ankles and the feet, checking your balance. And then let's just do a little swaying. Giving those joints a chance to really show their range of motion. Ankles, hips, knees, neck. And then come back to center. Okay, so we're going to do a Warrior Two routine today. So let's start by taking the feet a comfortable distance apart. Now you see my feet, because let me turn it down a little bit so you can see my feet. You want your feet to be facing forward and your hips are a comfortable distance apart so that you're not having a lot of stress. We did a lot of hip work, so you should have some flexibility in the hips right now. So we're just going to come into this kind of wide-legged mountain pose here. A little bit of bend in the knees. They're not hyper-locked. Tailbone is tucked. Shoulders are broad. And you feel like you're picking up a dish towel with your toes. So your feet are really locked on the mat. And then you're gonna place your hands on your hips. And I'm gonna go sideways so you can see here. We're gonna do a half forward fold. So we're half forward folded, feet are straight ahead. Knees are micro bent, back is flat. You're not down or you're not up, you're flat. Keep lengthening that torso. And then bend your knees a little bit more and bring your hands down onto the mat. If the mat is bridged too far, you can use a block or you can bring your hands down onto a chair. And we're going to do a little cat-cow here. So your knees are a little bent, feet are working hard. A little bit of cat-cow here. And then back to neutral. So we're going to walk the hands around to the right foot, bend that right knee, stretch out that left leg. Walk the hands back to center. Stretch out that right leg, bend that left knee. And feel that in the inner thigh. Just going to do that a few times at your own pace. Swaying from side to side, stretching out. Nice deep breaths. Listen to your body. It's a nice strengthening pose for the legs. A little bit of a balance pose for your brain. We'll do one more set from side to side. And then back to center. Let's just do a few little squat moves here. And then walk the feet in and roll up to standing. I'm going to pause for a minute, see if I can get my picture back. I did it again today. I lose my picture on the screen. I don't know how that happens. Zoom, let's see if it'll do it. There we go. Okay. All right. So we're back up to standing. You might want to grab a little water here. Feel that in your thighs a little bit. Wanted to warm you up for Warrior Two. So come back up to mountain. Take a couple of breaths here. Feel the power and strength flowing through you. And then we're going to take the feet wide again. And we're going to turn, for me, it'll be the left foot. I'm going to turn my left foot towards the top of the mat. And when I did that, I noticed my hips, which were like this, kind of went like that, right? So then my goal is to keep the foot where it landed and then turn those hips back. So do that, put your hands right on your hips. Notice how they were like this. You turned your foot out and your body kind of went to the side, right? So you're gonna keep that leg right where it is and turn the body back as much as you can. And then pulse a little bit into that forward foot. Feel the strength in the back foot, nice straight leg. Get those hips. I should wear little things on me so
Look out over that forward hand, and you're in a beautiful warrior two. Keep the shoulders low, don't let them ride up. And then take that back arm and make a big circle. And drop that hand down on the back leg. Turn the front hand over, keep those hips open, and lift that hand up. Lift it up. See if you can tip it over a little bit. Come back up to your warrior two. Check your hips. Bend that front elbow. Drop it down onto the front thigh and sweep that arm forward and open to a side angle pose. Slowly come back up to your warrior two. Bring your hands to your hips and walk your feet in. Come back into the mountain pose. Notice the sensations on the side of the body that was doing a lot of work here. Nice deep breaths. And we will take it to the other side. The feet wide. Turn the other foot to the bottom of the mat. Notice the hips, how they went with the foot. Keep the leg open. Turn the body around. You may not get it around, but it's just sort of a mental thing to try to keep that spaciousness in the hips. Bring the arms up. Pulse a little bit. Low shoulders. Tuck tailbone. Warrior two. Notice if this side feels more natural or more awkward. I'm going to take that back arm. I'm going to do 3 big circles. Drop the hand down on the thigh. Turn the front hand over. Awareness of the hip points being open. Lift. And slowly come back up to the warrior two. Bend the front elbow. Drop it down onto the front thigh. Sweep the back arm up. Open it up. Side angle. Slowly come back up to the warrior two. Bring your hands to your hips. And walk it in back to mountain. Notice both sides. Do they feel more equally charged? Notice the prana, more prana flowing quickly through the channels. And our last standing pose today will be a balance pose. So we're going to do a tree pose. So we're going to start by finding yourself in your center, grounding yourself onto the mat. And then we're going to turn one foot to the side. And notice again that you can see how that redistributes the weight. We're going to lift up the heel, bring it in to the ankle of the other foot. Then find your balance on the standing leg. Lift it up. Try to open up that leg. You can feel the little movements that are going on in the standing leg are those muscles working in harmony with the brain to keep the balance. So find a focal point. And if you have steadiness, you can lift up into your beautiful tree. I was thinking about trees last night, how I love the sound of the leaves in the trees. I think I miss that the most in the winter. And then you're going to release and come down and pause. Take a breath. And then we're going to turn the other foot. Lift it up, bring it in. Find the steadiness on the standing leg. If you don't have steadiness, you can stay right here and work on it while the brain and the leg work out a deal. And then you can lift up. And when you're ready, you can let it go. Come back into Prayer Mountain. Again, expressing gratitude that this wonderful body that we have does so many wonderful things for us. And slowly make your way back down onto the mat. We're going to come right into lying down. I have a couple of poses that I want to do before we go into Shavasana. Have a block or a pillow handy, or your roller. You can use your roller for this. I think I'm going to use my roller for this, but you can use a block or a pillow. So lying down with the knees bent. Take that object, block, pillow, or roller. You're going to put it underneath your legs, and then you're going to inhale and lift up and bring it onto your tailbone. Don't let it be on your spine. You want to keep it on the tailbone. Here. And then you're going to slide. If it works in your body, you're going to slide those legs out. Again, we're getting a nice back bend here, a little bit easier probably than a Sphinx pose. But I like this one because it also gives you a great stretch in your quads. So this is a supine supported bridge. Nice deep breaths, also great for the heart and lungs, opening up the torso. Just feel those hip bones melting down into the surface under you. Now you can stay here like this, or we're going to add something on. You're going to keep that left leg extended, slide the right knee in, and grab on either behind your thigh or on top of your shin. You'll get an additional stretch in that left quad. You can push out through that left heel and you'll feel a real stress on the whole leg. Shoulders relaxed. And then we're going to slowly release the right leg. Slide it out. Stop for a minute here and just feel the differences. And then we're going to slide the left leg in. Reach either behind your thigh or on top of your shin, pushing out through the right heel. Bring the right leg in to meet the left leg. You get a really great stretch in your low back.
And then release the legs down onto the mat. Inhale, lift up, remove the prop. Bring your arms out wide into a T. Bring the knees in and then drop the knees over to the left for 5 breaths. Keep both shoulders on the mat. Gently bring those knees back to center. The arms out in the T and take the knees over to the right. Bring the knees back to center and prepare for your last pose, Shavasana. So you can lengthen out your legs or you can keep the knees bent and come into constructive rest pose, which is bringing the knees in and the feet out, one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. So whatever shape you want to be in Shavasana, even if you want to be on your side or your belly, it doesn't matter. It's your time to integrate your practice. So take a deep breath in through your nose, hold it for a couple of seconds, and then exhale it slowly through the mouth. And then let everything soften from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. And you stay there, and I'm going to come up. I'm going to read you a quote from, I'm going to let you hear the quote, and then I'm going to tell you who it is, and you'll be interested. Most of us, I believe, admire strength. It is something we tend to respect in others, desire for ourselves, and wish for our children. Sometimes, though, I wonder if we confuse strength and other words, like aggression and even violence. Real strength is neither male nor female, but is quite simply one of the finest characteristics that any human being can possess. And that quote is from Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers. Start to deepen your breath and bring your awareness back. Gently nod your head from side to side. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rotate your wrists and ankles. And then lengthen out your legs, point your toes, bring your arms overhead. Take a long stretch. And then gently roll over onto your side, whichever side you like. And stay here in this fetal position for several breaths. Just slowly transition and then make your way up to the fetal position. And then bring your hands to your heart.